people. Good day, good day. For me, it's good morning. I know for some it's good afternoon, good evening. Either way, glad that you are here, able to hear this today. And so I wanted to really touch bases. I learned about an interesting story today, one that's popular. And it's basically this clip that's going viral. It's this huge bear, beautiful black bear. Giant. I don't know how beautiful it would be if I was close up to it, but it's just a massive one, probably about 10 foot tall. Anyways, I'm assuming, I don't know if they had set it up as an experiment or the bear so happened to be out there in the woods where they were, but they had this giant mirror essentially in the woods posted. It was like a door mirror, but it was a huge mirror. And interestingly, when the bear looked at the mirror, it was like, oh my gosh, it was startled, right? And it kept looking like, what is that, right? Not recognizing the bear's self in the mirror. And then finally, the bear was like, wait a minute, I don't recognize this. It's about to go down. So the bear just starts like pounding on the mirror until the point of obviously demolishment, because the mirror, of course, didn't stand a chance against this gigantic bear. And so the mirror was destroyed. But what I find interesting about that video is just the very easy analogy when I think about ourselves and looking in the mirror. And, for some of us, not even from an analogy perspective, but for some of us, even literally, it's hard for us to look in the mirror because we get so distracted and so irritated by the abnormalities we see or the differences maybe in comparison to someone else, or just, blemishes we don't want to see. And so some of us literally do not like looking in the mirror. But then I think most of us fall in this category of really spiritually, emotionally taking the time to be still, without noise, which obviously always forces us to look in that mirror, that stillness, right? But we don't want it. We don't want it. A lot of times we don't like it. A lot of times when people first start meditating, it's very disturbing for them. The silence, the stillness, just literally is enough to drive you crazy, right? When you first start meditating. And we oftentimes, we blame it on the silence, or that we're bored, that we can't sit still. But a lot of times it's really our discomfort in that mirror that is always, always showing and reflecting us in that still moment. And when we first start that stillness, that's when we see everything, and it comes fast, right? Like, we just see all of those internal blemishes that we don't want to see. We have all of these flashbacks that we, may not want to have, but the beautiful thing is, the more that we meditate, the more that we're still, the more that we're quote unquote looking in that mirror, the more comfortable that we are, and being honest with ourselves regarding what we see. And then, they're not even as distracting, especially those things that aren't even relevant in your lives at this point. And they just subside like the wind. And if they come up within an instant or two, they're gone, because we don't pay attention to them, right? Because they're not as startling. But in those moments when we first look in that mirror, or first be still, first meditate, it can be difficult for us. And oftentimes, again, we may blame it on the stillness, but a lot of times it's really not the stillness. It's really just us not being comfortable being with us, looking at ourselves in a moment without distractions, where it's only you. So, I'm challenging you today, as I continue to challenge myself to look in the mirror, physically, literally, and from the perspective of metaphorically take that time to be still. Take that moment to not only look at yourself, but just see, what God has to say to you. For me, at least, meditation at first, it was all about me quieting down my energy, because I am a high energy person. So it was about creating some stillness, some slowness, to just move slower, to smell the roses, to see those small beauties that I may overlook in my speed. And so that's what really meditation was all about. When I first started meditating, it was about calmness. And now I meditate a lot more, usually daily when I meditate. It's really, I'm asking God, I really want to hear from you. I want to know, what do you have to say today? Because I know how loud the world can get and how my surroundings can get. I can't speak for you, but my surroundings can get really loud. And so I want to create that space to hear from God. It's not as long as I want it to be. I meditate 10 minutes a day. But I get some golden nuggets, to say the least. A lot of times when I do, and I'm still able to reap those benefits from meditation, of the calmness, of the peace, but more importantly for me at this point in my life, I'm able to hear from God in ways that I otherwise wouldn't, whether it's things that He told me to do that I forgot to do, or things that I need to do today that will really be important in my life. So I definitely encourage you to don't be afraid, have courage to look in the mirror, and even go beyond that to discover perhaps what is behind that initial impression that you see. I pray that you all have a wonderful, blessed day and weekend.